The workshop had been my father's sanctuary for 40 years. Every tool hung in its proper place, the pegboard shadow outlines matching perfectly to each hammer, each wrench, each level. He'd built that shop himself, back when Mom was still alive, back when I was learning how to hold a saw without cutting myself. It was supposed to be where we'd restore the '67 Mustang sitting in his garage, where we'd finally have time to work on projects together now that I'd retired from teaching. It was supposed to be the place where he'd stay sharp, stay active, stay himself. Instead, I arrived unannounced on a Tuesday afternoon to find the workshop door padlocked from the outside. My father was 68 years old, not ancient, not senile. 3 months ago, he'd beaten me at chess. 2 months ago, he'd helped my neighbor rebuild a deck. But my sister had insisted he needed help after that dizzy spell at the grocery store, just precautionary, she'd said. Just someone to check on him, help with medications, make sure he was eating properly. We'd hired Vanessa through a reputable agency. Her credentials checked out. She had 15 years of experience in elder care. She'd seemed perfect. I should have visited more. I should have called more. But teaching high school had consumed my life for 30 years. And even in retirement, I'd been busy with grandkids, with my own health issues, with 1,000 excuses that seemed so important at the time. My sister Emily handled most of Dad's care coordination. She lived closer, she said. She'd keep me updated, she said. The last time I'd spoken to Dad was 3 weeks ago. He'd sounded tired. Said he was sleeping a lot. Said Vanessa was taking good care of him. I'd meant to visit that weekend, but my grandson had a soccer tournament. I'd meant to visit the next weekend, but my wife had plans. I'd meant to call, but the days slipped away like they always do, until suddenly it's Tuesday afternoon and you're pulling into your father's driveway with groceries because you finally have a free day and you want to surprise him. The house looked normal from the outside. The lawn was mowed, the hedges trimmed. Dad's old pickup sat in the driveway. But something felt wrong the moment I stepped out of my car. I couldn't identify it at first, just this nagging sensation in my gut. The same feeling I used to get when a student was cheating, or when a lesson plan wasn't going to work. Maybe it was the silence. Dad always had music playing, classic rock drifting through open windows. Today, the house was silent as a tomb. I knocked on the front door. No answer. I rang the bell. Still nothing. I tried the knob locked. I walked around to the back, past the workshop with its new padlock, and found the kitchen door slightly ajar. "Dad?" I called out as I pushed the door open. "It's Michael. You home?" The kitchen was spotless. Too spotless. Dad was tidy, but this looked like a showroom. No coffee cup in the sink, no newspaper on the table, no pill organizer on the counter. The refrigerator hummed, and I opened it to find it mostly empty. Some yogurt, wilted lettuce, expired milk. I frowned. Dad loved to cook. His fridge should have been packed with leftovers, ingredients for his famous chili, the good cheese he bought from the specialty market downtown. I set my grocery bags on the counter and moved deeper into the house. The living room was equally pristine. Dad's favorite recliner sat unused, the TV remote still in its charging dock. The bookshelf looked wrong, books arranged by size rather than the chaotic system Dad preferred. His reading glasses weren't on the side table where he always left them. "Dad?" I called again, louder this time. A thump came from upstairs. Then voices muffled, but definitely voices. Relief flooded through me. He was home, probably just napping, hadn't heard me come in. I headed for the stairs. That's when I heard the laughter. Not Dad's laugh. Young voices, multiple people, coming from the living room I'd just left. But I'd just been in the living room. It was empty. I turned around, confused, and that's when I noticed the basement door. It was cracked open, light spilling up the stairs, and the voices were coming from down there. Not the living room, the basement. Dad hated the basement, said it was musty, said his knees couldn't handle the stairs anymore. He used it for storage and nothing else. So why were people down there? I moved quietly to the door and peered down the wooden stairs. The basement had been transformed, where boxes and old furniture should have been. I saw string lights, a sectional couch, a mini fridge, even a flat-screen TV mounted on the wall. 4 or 5 people in their 20s sat around a coffee table, drinking wine, laughing. One of them, a young woman with bright pink hair, was showing something on her phone to the others. "I'm telling you, this is the perfect crash pad," she was saying. Vanessa said we could use it whenever she's working upstairs. The old guy doesn't even know we're here. My blood ran cold. How much longer is she going to be? A guy in a backwards cap asked. I thought she said he'd sleep till at least 5. She dosed him good this time, Pink Hair replied. We've got hours. I must have made a sound, a gasp, a sharp intake of breath because suddenly all eyes turned toward the stairs, toward me. For a frozen moment, we just stared at each other. Then I was moving, taking the stairs 2 at a time, my heart hammering against my ribs. Behind me, I heard scrambling, someone saying, "Oh shit, who is that?" I didn't stop to answer. I bolted back through the kitchen, heading for the stairs to the 2nd floor. If Dad was up there, if he was drugged like they said, I'd never moved so fast. The stairs seemed endless. I hit the landing and saw that Dad's bedroom door was closed. I twisted the knob. Locked. Dad! I pounded on the door. Dad, it's Michael! Are you in there? A moan, weak and confused, answered me. Then a woman's voice, sharp and startled. What the who's out there? I didn't answer. I stepped back and threw my shoulder against the door. The frame splintered but held. I hit it again, and this time the lock gave way. The door crashed open. The first thing I saw was my father. He was in bed, pale as death, his eyes half closed and unfocused. His wrists had red marks on them, and the room stank of unwashed sheets and something medicinal. The curtains were drawn, making the room dark as a cave in the middle of the afternoon. The second thing I saw was Vanessa, the nurse, standing by the bedside with a syringe in her hand. She recovered quickly. I'll give her that. Her face shifted from shock to professional concern in a heartbeat. Michael, what are you doing here? You can't just break into your father's room like this. Put down the syringe. My voice came out calmer than I felt. Years of handling classroom disruptions, of projecting authority even when I was terrified. Vanessa hesitated, her eyes calculating. Your father needs his medication, she said, her tone soothing, practiced. He's been very agitated today. The doctor prescribed. Which doctor? I stepped further into the room, positioning myself between her and Dad. What medication? Dr. Morrison. Your sister approved it. She was already moving toward the door, trying to angle past me. I really need to call Emily and explain. Don't move. Something in my voice stopped her. Maybe it was the fact that I'd spent 30 years dealing with teenagers who thought they could lie their way out of anything. Maybe it was the cold rage that had settled over me when I saw my father's condition, when I heard those kids downstairs talking about him like he was a piece of furniture. Who are those people in the basement? I asked quietly. Her face went white. I don't know what you're talking about. Really? Because I just had a conversation with a girl with pink hair who said you told them they could use this place as a crash pad. Who said you dosed my father so he wouldn't know they were here. Vanessa's professional mask cracked. You need to leave, now, or I'm calling the police. Great idea. Let's call them together. I pulled out my phone. I'm sure they'd love to hear about how you're drugging my father and running an Airbnb out of his house without his knowledge. I bet the rental platform would be interested too. And the state licensing board. She lunged for my phone. I'd been expecting it. I'd seen that same desperate grab from students trying to delete evidence of cheating. I stepped back, and she stumbled past me, her momentum carrying her toward the door. That's when I heard footsteps pounding up the stairs. The basement crew, I realized, coming to back up their host. But I wasn't alone either. The commotion had roused Dad. His eyes were opening, more focused now, and his voice weak, but unmistakably, his croaked out. Michael? What's happening? Where am I? Vanessa froze in the doorway. Behind her, 3 of the people from downstairs appeared, looking uncertain. They were young, probably college-aged, and clearly had no idea what they'd walked into. Is this some kind of family thing? One of them asked nervously. Because Vanessa said, Shut up, Tyler, Vanessa snapped. Who are you people? Dad's voice was getting stronger. He was trying to sit up, confusion and fear warring on his face. Michael, what's going on? I kept my phone up, camera recording now. Stay calm, Dad. These people are leaving, aren't you? I looked at each of the young people in turn. Unless you want to be accessories to elder abuse. Your choice. They exchanged glances. Pink Hair was already backing away. We didn't know, she said quickly. We just thought we were renting a room. We paid through the app. We didn't know anyone lived here. She said it was her place. Shut up, Vanessa